So there is a lot of things happening since April 1st, mainly around Elon Musk and Tesla. And the last weekend, I think many people were really excited or maybe very disappointed about Elon Musk. There were news about Elon joining the Tesla board, right? So let's find more about this. Thank you for joining us. This is Aakashavani, and you're listening to Ravi.
and Padma Kumar. So, Ravi,
Right?
are you talking about the 9.2 stake Elon Musk bought just a week ago, like maybe
Yeah,
2 weeks ago, on Twitter?
yeah, exactly. So I think it was on April 1st, right? That's when things started happening.
So there's I don't want to digress, but I just read a news article today that apparently started buying shares on March 14th, and apparently
Okay.
he continued buying for the next 1 week. But so there is some limit that you have to report to SEC when you buy more than 5% of the shares of a company. But he didn't
Uh-huh.
report that to SEC until he tweeted that he bought 9% shares of the from the company. But after he bought, the market rose from $30 to $50. Apparently, that is illegal. I don't know how. I just read an article. I'm not sure if that is true
Yeah,
or wrong, but yeah,
right. Yeah, I think there was an SEC article that said the way he purchased it is illegal because it is a publicly traded company. And the tweet, right, about you know just use the headquarters for homeless people.
yeah,
Which
that is that.
that was something, because all the Twitter employees, I think they said they're going to do permanent work from home, right? Twitter was one of the first companies, I think, large companies which said they're going to do permanent work from home, and
Mm,
they have a huge office in San Francisco downtown,
right.
prime area. And I think I even before the pandemic started, I think they got huge incentives, tax intensive incentives from San Francisco City
Oh,
to
is
set
it?
up their office
I
in.
I remember that in 2020, right, like just a couple of months after the pandemic, Pinterest sold the entire company that they leased. As they broke the lease and they paid a
Yeah,
penalty and said completely work from home. So I don't know if that is the
yeah,
case with Twitter or not, but I think a lot of companies at that point said we are going completely work from home.
yeah, right, absolutely. But then I think, and then did you see how this all coincided with the edit button, right? I know edit button looks like there were a lot of people who were strongly advocating for the edit button for a really long time.
Correct.
Um, and until all this happened, I didn't even know that people needed edit button so badly. But as soon as Elon Musk said he's going to be on the board, he put in a poll how many wants an edit button on Twitter,
Right.
right? And then I think 70% of some people said yes, and then a few people said no, and then in Twitter tweeted that we are working on that edit button on April 1st, right?
Right.
And then many people thought it was a April's Fool's tweet,
Yeah.
right? So they had to come back the next day and say, no, no, we are actually
Actually,
working on
right.
it.
No,
Right.
and the funny thing is that even the poll that Elon Musk made, right? I don't know. I'll show it on the video whenever we post this video. But in that video also, like in the poll, he misspelled yes and no, so that
Mm.
when he said, "Do you want a edit button?" he misspelled yes. He said YSE and no as an ON. He reversed the spellings, so that he's like indirectly telling them like this is why you probably need an edit button.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
All right.
it was really, really funny. I mean,
Right.
because I didn't read it as well. Like after, like I think I was going back to check how many people actually voted yes. That's when I realized, oh shit, he's actually intelligently
Yeah.
or like funnily saying this. That
Right.
was awesome.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, definitely. I'm sure if 27% or whatever percent of people are saying no to have an edit button, I'm sure there is a strong advocacy or strong reason. Because it's not a big deal, right? to have an edit button or something?
Yeah, I
Every
mean,
social media has an
yeah,
edit button.
every social media has, as I said, right? Like, so one of the reasons the people who advocate against it not having a edit button is like, let's say if somebody tweets something, let's say somebody tweets like I love Apple, and everybody, like, let's say the CEO of Apple retweets that, and the guy, the original author, says I don't like Apple, the CEO would look like a fool, right? So uh, so people might change what they said. The suggestion is that, oh, you can show this as edited, but how many people are going to actually click on that edit and see what was edited? So that is like the strongest advocacy against people who don't want an edit button.
Right.
But on the bright side, a lot of people say that, hey, I just made a spelling mistake. Like, remember that the Trump tweet saying shafafe or something like kafafe, that, like, it was like it was on news for the entire week. Remember, Trump once by mistake tweeted that everybody knows kafafe or something like that, and
Ah,
everybody, like the whole, like CNN and all the news media ran with it for 2-3 days. So
yeah.
people are like, if I made a point and I think there was a typo, the whole idea of the point will be gone, right? Will be lost.
Yeah.
So there's that. So there are both sides to the story, but I think maybe Twitter can ask people to pay like a subscription fee and give an edit button. That way, at least
Right.
they make some money out of it.
Yeah. If you care so much, pay. Right.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Like I said, I never thought about that edit button. Unless Elon Musk steps in, nothing is interesting for me, I guess. The way, and then there were a lot of memes coming up. The Twitter employees, will have to show up at office now.
On
I'm
Monday.
sure
Right.
everybody moved somewhere. But yeah, that's a different talk about work from home and then how long it's going to continue. But uh, quickly, I think a lot of people are actually going to the offices now, right? At least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
How about yours?
Yeah. I've been to office. Like, I went to office in March, a couple of days, and I saw about
No.
30 to 40% of my company. 30 to at least 30% of them were there. Uh,
Right.
but the challenging part was like a lot of tables were taken off because nobody was showing up to work. So now there are
Mm.
less tables, and 30%, when 30% come up, it looks like it's a full office. Although there are only
Ah,
30% people showing up,
maybe it's a trick.
maybe it's a trick. Now you
Yeah.
have to book for those tables as well. So I don't know, like, if
Right.
everybody goes back to work, I don't know how will that work. I don't know if that is the case
Yeah.
with every company or not, but at least for my company, it is like you have to book a table to show up. And if you show up 3 times a week, more than 3 times a week, then you get to keep a table. Otherwise, your table will be like a mobile table. You cannot have your table for keeps.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. I think only a few offices are like putting in a rule. Like talking to somebody at Apple, said Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And that's it. You have to show up.
Oh,
Yeah. Only those days. You can't choose your days.
oh wow. Monday, Tuesday, and
Yeah.
Thursday. Interesting.
Yeah. 3 days a week. Yeah. I feel like that will be the norm. 3 days is good, and that should be good enough. And you can't complain, and then you can't, you can't feel happy, and you can't complain for three
So
days.
I was listening
Yeah.
to Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella's interview like a couple of days ago regarding metaverse and all of those things, and how does he think the the evolution would be from here? Like, where are we moving towards? Are we going back to in person, or are we going towards a hybrid model?
Mm.
He says that, like, from his information from his company, 50% of the people don't want to come back to work,
Right.
and 70% of the people want to talk to people and when they make decisions. So it's contradicting the theory. Like, a lot of people want to still come to work and talk to people, make decisions. They think they're more productive at work, and still a lot of
Yeah.
people think that working from home is also equally productive. They want that
Right.
flexibility in life because they can drop their
Yeah.
kids to school and come back. It'll be easier.
Yeah.
So he says that, like, we will be stuck with this for a long, long time, and he thinks that everything will eventually move to a hybrid model.
Yeah. Yeah. Hybrid model makes. I think it's not about somebody wants to work from home or somebody wants to work remote. people fear that they're losing control, right? As long as they stay close to the office, they will show up.
Right.
It is when they move really far, that is when it becomes a real challenge to commute.
Right.
But if you think about, the personality development, that won't happen remote. No matter how many arguments people can give, you know, you can't develop a personality. You don't know how to, talk to people and then present an idea. You can't do that on Zoom,
Yeah.
right? So that is always going to be there. I think, yeah. Well, I think we went into a different topic, but I was talking about.
Just to follow up on that, right? Like one of the points that he makes that tailgates on whatever you said. He said that there are two type of relationships that everybody has. There are strong relationships and weak relationships in terms of work. So weak
Mhm.
relationships are like people who you go out eat with at work, who you sit with, who you go talk
Mhm.
to at the cooler or at the table. Like you have this small talks with random people in the office, right, during your day.
Right.
And there's strong relationships who are like in your team, like your co who you work with like on a day-to-day basis. So he says the
Yeah.
hybrid culture or the work from home culture has made stronger relationships even more stronger and weaker relationships even more weaker. So you don't really have any of those weak relationships anymore, so you don't know who is working on the next team. So it is
Right.
harder for a company of that size to build products because team A doesn't know more much about team B and team C doesn't
Right.
know about team A. So nobody knows what's the second team doing. So that's the challenge he was talking about. But anyway, we are digressing from the topic. But I thought he brought a very good point, and that is really true.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Especially for a product, it makes sense.
Right.
And I think bringing together everything, there is no better example than the Giga Texas factory,
Right.
right? Have you seen the way they have designed it? After looking at that, I was looking at the numbers of the other Giga factories, right? I think this is the fifth Giga factory, the fourth one being Berlin. I think the first one was Nevada, and then New York, Shanghai. It could be a different.
Not New York. I think there's no gigafactory in New York. I think there's one in Fremont.
No, no, there is. No, no, no. Fremont is not Gigafactory.
Okay. Okay.
Fremont is a
Sorry.
factory,
I could be wrong.
and it looks like by far Fremont is the most efficient factory they have. I mean,
Okay.
for the space, that is the most efficient factory. But he was comparing it with the chip design, right?
Yeah.
I was putting. When that's like, yes, when you put an engineer as a CEO, and that's what products are. They don't look nice, but they're functional, right? And the way they're presenting everything. But I was talking about the numbers, right? The first three gigafactories, the Nevada, Shanghai, and New York,
Hmm.
these three combined floor space is equal to just the Giga Texas. It's one, I think the whole factory floor space is about I think 3 million or 10 million square feet. I mean, that's
Wow.
crazy, right? 10 million square feet.
Right.
And the whole area is 2,500 acres, the
Wow.
factory area.
Wow. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
2,500 acres. So it's crazy. Just for comparison, Osmania University is 400 acres.
Yeah.
And it looks like they got 50 million in grants from Texas to set it up. But the factory actually costed 10 billion.
Wow.
Yeah.
He has money, dude. Like money is not a money is not a problem for Tesla. And
Yeah.
also, like he was comparing it as well. He was comparing as this factory that one in Austin is like as big as three Pentagons. And he says like
Yeah.
if anything is if you're measuring anything in the size of a pentagon, it's pretty big. So
Oh,
this
yeah. Pentagon is huge. Have you seen Pentagon?
no, I didn't.
I mean, even from a distance, I mean, I didn't go close to it. It was across the freeway.
Hmm.
I looked at the Pentagon building. It's huge. It's a huge building because we always see aerial footage. It looks small, but it's a huge building.
Right.
And yeah, this one is it's crazy, and it's like I think 10 million square foot of space, and they're expecting to create like a million vehicles per year.
Wow. Or I
yeah,
think more than a
yeah. That
million. I heard. I think I remember he's saying 1.5 million, or maybe I could be wrong.
they're projecting 1 million,
Okay.
but there are few people who claim that the Shanghai factory is supposed to create like 500,000 vehicles per year.
Mm.
But at the current run rate, they are gonna be million per year. So
Wo-
which is half the size of this factory.
Wow.
And this is purpose built, right? The whole heavy, they call it the Giga casting, right? The whole car is casted in one go, and then they're all lifts and robots doing half of the stuff.
Wow.
So it's going to be very, very efficient, and they're going to generate million. I think maybe they may generate 2 million also. Nobody knows, but the scale, that's going to be their template, looks like. And going forward, they will have 10 more gigafactories like this.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're really gearing up, to upscale now,
right.
because until now they were going through all, you know,
I think now they
error
figure out the
experiment.
solution. They have like the first prototype. They know that they can replicate and just keep replicating this for a long. I mean, at least for the next 10 gigafactories, as you said.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think, in the speech, Elon Musk was also saying that now we're just gonna explode, right? We're gonna,
Right.
scale up
Yeah.
at a mad scale. And when Elon Musk says something, then he's gonna do it. Right?
If he thinks
It's
he's
not.
mad, it's at mad skill. It is really a mad skill
Yeah,
at that point.
right. Yeah, yeah. So I think interesting times, and the one thing I'm most excited about is the Cybertruck.
Right.
Yeah, and finally they said they're gonna do it, and he actually apologized during the speech. Sorry about the delay.
And
If
remember he said that he got rid of the the doors, the door handles for the
door
car. Yeah,
handles,
for the
yeah,
car. The no door handles, like they already know we are there. So I wonder
yeah.
how they open it. Like sometimes the sensors might not work. So I don't know if they have like fallback sensors in the car so that you're he knows you're
I
there.
think there will be a backup handle,
Right.
maybe somewhere under
Like a
the
button
door or
somewhere. Yeah.
something. Yeah, yeah. Because even in Model Y, there's a button to open the door,
Right.
but then there is also a lever, which is not very obvious, but there is one backup,
Okay.
right? So obviously you need a backup because that's a proximity sensor, but I don't know how it will work. Again, it's
Hmm.
a prototype, right?
Correct.
Because if you go there, the driver will have a proximity sensor and it'll open.
Right.
But what about the
I think it
passengers?
opens for
I
everybody. I
don't.
guess. I think if you're there,
Uh,
if there's a proximate sensor for one, it should be there for all of them, right?
then there are high chances you'll get mugged. You go get in a car and then somebody will sit from behind, point a gun at you and say, "Start driving."
I'm pretty sure if I mean, if we are thinking about it like in 2 minutes of our discussion, I'm
Yeah,
sure they would have discussed this.
right. And then did you see how I'm forgetting the name of the person who broke the glass last
Yeah,
time?
I forgot the name too.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, he was scared to throw something at it.
he was like,
He didn't want to take a chance again.
yeah, he was like, let's do it next time. I'll pass for this time.
Yeah,
And actually, Elon Musk brought this up. He was like, "Do you want to hit the car again?" And he was like, "Are you sure?" Like he was like surprised. That was like he went off script, and then he was like, "Are you sure?"
yeah. You want to stand in front of a broken glass and then talk again.
Correct.
But I think it was a very short speech, though.
Right.
Was expecting a lot more, and very cryptic, like, because they didn't give much details. Of course, they talked a lot about the factory and the size of it, and yeah, it's amazing the size. I think the only thing I knew which was as big as this one is there is a mall in Dubai,
Hmm.
which is 1 square mile.
1 square mile. Wow.
Yeah, and the I think the leasable space itself is like about 3 million square footage.
Hmm.
Leasable. The total is about 5 million. But there was a extreme engineering episode on it. Very interesting.
Wow.
And then it has the largest indoor aquarium and so on. I mean, a lot of things. But that was amazing when this is on a different level, right?
There should be a when you say that, it just occurs to me that like there should be an extreme engineering episode on Hyderabad light rail, the light rail in Hyderabad, the metro in Hyderabad. Like
Yeah.
how hard is it to build something in a democracy?
It should be extreme negotiation, not extreme engineering. You gotta negotiate well.
Yeah, there should be a
Same
MBA
same
class
thing
for
goes
that.
for, I think, Delhi Metro also.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
The,
think in Delhi it's more like since it's a capital, right? Like I think government somehow feels they have this permission to, like, cut through stuff. But Hyderabad is just another city in the country, so although it's a capital, but it's like it has to go through the law.
Yeah, yeah. There are very interesting things about Hyderabad Metro, though. Looks like I don't know. I didn't fact check this,
Hmm.
but I got to know from somebody that if your house was, damaged or removed, then in that area in the metro station they put your name.
Oh,
That thanks to these people.
that's great, bro. I mean, that's like
Yeah,
that's the least you could do, right? Like if you look
yeah,
like the,
yeah. And for life,
yeah,
right?
I know,
Forever,
right,
forever it will be there.
right.
Yeah, I have to. I will check it out when the next time I'm there.
Yeah, I will.
But
I will give it a shot too. But I
yeah,
think that's the least. I think India should realize, or the government should realize, that when if you cannot buy them with money, you can buy them with fame. I think they are buying it
yeah.
with fame. Give them the
See, that happens with in a private sector. That's easy, right? In a government,
right,
I'm sure it has to go through, a GO
right,
to get that done.
right.
Just to put name that idea.
Yeah,
But yeah, private sector can get that done quickly,
right.
and because it was an L&T partnership, I think that's why they pulled it
Somebody
off.
could probably figure out these guys don't need money. They probably need fame. Let's just give them the fame.
Yeah,
Let's have this thick bold letters with their name, with the last name and the year and the whatever, like,
right.
and everything, so they'll be happy. But anyway, I think we
Yeah,
are digressing. One other thing uh, which I thought was one of the phrase that Tesla, Elon Musk used during the meeting, is that he said this is a machine that's going to build the machine. I think that's
Mm.
like a very very like a strong statement. Like
Yeah,
you're building a, it's like he thinks of it like a product. This product's gonna make more products.
yeah. Absolutely. It's a very radical way of building things, right? If you look at any other factory floor, I've seen some documentaries on Discovery and all. They're very typical.
Right.
There is a belt, the belt is moving, and people are putting things on it. Right. First there is a frame, then they mount tires, then they mount engine, then they mount seats, then they put the body on. That's a very same task, right? It's going through a belt, right? That's how it works. But here it's divided into parts, right? The battery is set up, and then there are fewer parts also, right? That's one other main thing with an electric. There are fewer moving parts.
Right.
Once you put the tires and the motor and the battery, then there's not much which is different than the seats and the body. So the way they figured out this efficiency, right? That's great. And I wish they could show that in the price, because they're able to produce more, so
Right.
that people can buy more and less gas cars on the road. But strangely they keep increasing. Even though they're increasing, one thing is, Tesla is the only company which is sticking to the price. So what you see on the website is what you get, right?
Yeah.
Every other car right now, I am hearing stories. Actually, I know a friend who bought a Toyota Highlander
Mm-hmm.
for 5,000 more than the sticker price.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, usually it used to be the other way around.
Right.
2 years ago. You could negotiate,
Yeah.
go sit, harass people
Right.
for couple of hours and get $500 and
Right.
celebrate and give it to USCS for your H1 visa.
Right.
But anyway, that's that's how things have changed. But yeah, still, I think it's an amazing feat, and the numbers are just mind-boggling. The numbers they're projecting
Mm.
from this factory are going to be mind-boggling.
Right. It's a great start. I think I feel like America has this fuck you attitude all the time. Like growing up in India, right? Like you always see this country has this sort of uh, very rash fuck you attitude, that we build everything and we can do everything whatever you want. Somehow during the over the last 30 years, that's gone. I think Elon Musk building manufacturing, bringing manufacturing back to America, it's giving that
Yeah.
vibe again to America.
Yeah, yeah, independent, right?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, say whatever you want to say, but this guy is a hero, right?
Yeah.
They call it like American hero, because I think after 9 years, now US is sending American astronauts in their own rockets,
Correct.
right? They were using Soviet rockets I mean Russian rockets all this time, but now SpaceX is doing it,
Right.
right? So yeah, anybody can hate him, and then I know people were saying they'll quit because he joined Twitter board. But that's
Come on.
gladly. Please resign. Nobody
It's up to
cares.
them. And again,
Yeah.
a lot. Again, generally, like when if you do a net profits or net productivity from every citizen America or any country has, right? Like I think Elon Musk did more to America than the $11 billion he paid in taxes. And I think people don't realize that like
Yeah.
$11 billion in taxes, that he that's the highest tax anybody could pay in history.
Yeah.
But I think that's nothing in when you compare that to like the two big companies that he built. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. And then, government is trying to increase electric adoption and they're failing miserably. They're coming up with this 500 billion plan to increase electricity adoption, right?
yeah,
He has done it already.
right,
And he's doing it in a very green way if you think about it, right? No showrooms, they're removing all the showrooms.
exactly.
No dealers, unnecessary people, right? You just order on the internet and then, they deliver it to you. So it's,
So for maybe I think this is because we are all millennials, will probably like this, but like I always wanted to just tell me the price. If I like the price, I'll buy it. Otherwise, I won't. Like it's my decision
yeah,
to whether go with that price. I can afford it or
right.
not, right? But when you go to when I leased a car like 3 4 years ago, oh, it took me about 3 4 days to like realize, like first
Negotiate.
of all, you don't know whether you're getting exploited or not. You don't know the number, right? You don't know the market value. You have to do your research. And
Yeah.
but if there is a market sale price and everybody's competing on that price, and I don't have to worry because the free market will take care of itself. And
Yep.
whatever the price everybody's selling, I know this is the lowest, and I'll buy it or I don't. If
Yep.
Tesla says if it is 65,000, if I can't afford it, I won't buy it.
Yeah.
But I don't want the haggle of going to him, figuring out, negotiating 3 4 3 4
Yeah.
days.
And we know people, right? You come and say, "Oh, I bought a car." Before you stay happy, somebody will say, "Really, for 30K? I bought the same car for 28,695 dollars only." Right? He has to piss on your happiness immediately and then feel good about himself. It doesn't matter anything,
Yeah,
not just car, right?
don't do
Anything they
anything.
want.
Yeah,
We want to show off that we got a good deal and we got a bad deal,
yeah,
right? That's the worst thing. But yeah, that's true. Negotiation is a time waste,
right,
and the companies are actually they're employing somebody to negotiate, right?
right,
They might as well pass on that to the customer
right.
and then save money.
Right.
Then
I
that's
would
exactly what they're
happily
saying.
pay $1,000 more if you give me the price. Like if it is thirty
Yeah,
thousand and if you ask me 31,000, because we are like this is the new system and $1,000 is that whatever the extra charge you want to put it on me.
yeah,
I'm okay. Really, I mean, I'm ready to pay $1,000 instead of the haggle. But there
yeah,
might be people who cannot afford. But again, since all of them are competing against each other, eventually the customer will going to make more money.
yeah. The companies will try to make it efficient,
Right,
right? Like I said, they'll pass on their savings to the customer
right,
end of the day because that is also an edge,
correct.
right, for any company.
So yeah, Tesla is. I think so. There is one conspiracy that Tesla. There's a conspiracy. I don't know how much of this true is that he bought Twitter. 9% of Twitter is because of he wanted like media arm on his side. I don't know how much of this
Mhm.
is true, and he doesn't want you know how Bezos bought Washington Post a long time ago, and he's
Mhm.
buying this. But anyway, besides the point, did you this last weekend I went to watch RRR. Have you watched
Mm.
RRR yet?
Oh yeah, on the second day I couldn't go on the first day, but I went on the second day.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I know few people were saying, "Oh, what's new? It's an old story and all," but I really liked. I felt it was very nicely done. There
Right.
was never a moment where I felt, this is not good, or maybe the fights, yeah, can be toned down a little bit.
Hmm.
But I'm sure there are two mass heroes, so they have to show a lot
Right.
of action.
Right.
So yeah, you got to justify. But other than that, I think it was a beautifully made film.
Right.
I loved it. I actually loved it better than Bahubali. Bahubali I actually snoozed for few times, part one and part two.
Oh, is it?
But this one, yeah, this one I really liked it. I don't know. Few people have their
In,
complaints, but
no, I like the
yeah,
movie. The only thing is, I wanted to say is that Ram Charan had a character arc, uh,
Mhm.
but NTR didn't have a character arc. Although I believe NTR is a better actor, definitely. There's no question. He's like great in dancing and like all the forms of acting. But I think they could have done a little better with his character arc because they started. Remember how the whole story starts because of that small girl, and he had a, but they didn't show his childhood. Maybe they could have added instead of like I thought. I mean, again, what do I know, right? I am not a
Right.
director, but instead of like
Yeah.
they spent like about, I feel like they spent about 30-40 minutes showing a lot of fights in the second half. Instead of that, maybe if
Yeah.
they went back and shown a couple of uh,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I think they could have even made it a two-part, right?
yeah,
Because you can put a lot of
yeah,
story into it. It could be done.
right,
It could be done as to how did Ramcharan become an
right,
officer, or yeah, how did NTR become so strong, or
correct,
where does he come from? So I think they could have done it longer, and I really like the movie because they haven't done it.
right,
They kept it very clean,
yeah,
and yes, there are many ways of making a movie. You can go as detailed
yeah,
as less detailed, but I think this, for me, it was perfect.
yeah.
The songs were very good, and that entry of he jumps out with all the vehicles,
Oh yeah,
animals, right?
oh yeah.
And that was
Spoiler
just
alert, but
breathtaking.
yeah,
Yeah.
that interval scene is
I
like,
don't think.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
Right.
didn't watch it still even today, then sorry, we are not sorry.
Yeah.
So
No, I think we haven't told much,
yeah,
but
we haven't revealed yet, but like
yeah.
that interval scene where the whole all the animals
Yeah,
come
you
out.
want to talk in cold. Something happens,
Yeah.
and
Oh, that was
some
amazing, dude.
something.
That was like I was like waiting. So there are I have two thoughts on this. The first thought is that okay, that was like the interval scene was amazing, but
Yeah.
the movie would have been a really epic movie if they have taken the girl at that point and they stopped the movie, like it was already like 1.5 hour. I think that
Mm.
would have been like a perfect, I mean, if it was an English movie, there I think the story would have ended at that point where they both go fight
Yeah.
and get the girl out, and that would have been
Right.
like
That would have been too simple. But again, this is also a twist,
yeah,
right? So because everybody thought, I mean, at least I thought, okay, Ramcharan is too far gone.
yeah,
He's brainwashed,
right,
and then, but then, at some level, when he starts to feel sad, then something is there is more to the story, and then the story unwraps. So I think it's well done. I liked it,
so
and of course,
yeah.
people were questioning why is Alia Bhatt there.
Eh, I don't mind, I am not complaining.
Yeah, right. You should be glad this your wife doesn't listen to this podcast,
Yeah,
but
nobody listens to this, dude, except my mother. Nobody is listening to this podcast.
all right. But yeah, I loved it. And then, like I said, I think Bahubali was a lot of grandeur,
Right.
but
No,
it was boring in places.
right. No, even compared to Bahubali, this was clearly a better movie, and I liked all the animation and everything. It was good. I mean, again, a lot of people have this anticipation. I think a lot of people feel the disappointment is because of the anticipation. I think they marketed it way too much because of the. I think they marketed it for like 2-3 months and then they stopped and they started again 2-3 months again. So the whole marketing, the hype was so high that people were like expecting something huge, but like if you had no expectations and go watch that movie, you would think it's a great movie.
Right.
Right. So, and there's one thing when I was watching this movie, I know we talked about this earlier, but I wanted to go ask everybody in the audience that there's this song called Dosti in RRR. So and that song actually comes throughout the movie, not just the song. It is used as a background score throughout the movie at multiple scenes. And I was listening to that and the tune, the melody, and I was like, it was haunting me. I was like, this looks fairly familiar. But I went right away with the history of Kiravani. I went and googled RRR copied music, and I did not find anything. And then I thought,
Mm.
okay, the internet is definitely smarter than me. They would have probably picked it up by now.
Hmm.
But after a couple of days, I was getting this haunting. I was listening to that music and I was having these images of Sunny Leon walking towards me, and I was like, "Why am I having those images in my mind while listening to this movie?" And because Sunny Leon has nothing to do with this movie. And
Hmm.
eventually, I started looking up all the movies Sunny Leon did, all the Bollywood movies that Sunny Leon did, and finally, I landed this song called Mola in Jism 2. I want everybody to go look up that song and see if there is any similarity. And if you think there is a similarity, please comment. And I hope I win. I think there's a very, very close to real similarity between the two songs.
Hmm.
If we could call it a copy or we could call it an inspiration, but it hurts me to say that. Like I'm a huge fan of R. Rajamouli and a huge fan of Kiravani. Kiravani, like a lot of people who don't listen to Telugu music, Kiravani had like epic music, epic songs in Telugu. Like all the classics are written. Most of the classics he has his name to it. So it pains me to tell this, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
What do you think, Ravi? But you think it was not like so close?
Yeah, I didn't feel. I felt it. You were trying to connect something, but yeah, I didn't feel it was that close. It seemed like overlapped, but I don't think it was a copy.
Okay, I thought so. That's probably why the internet doesn't say it. But it for me like it was like the same song repeating in my in my head. Especially if you listen to the Hindi version of Dosti and the Hindi version of Mola, you would probably find. So okay, just in my defense, right? Like when I was playing both the songs, the lyrical versions of both the songs had the same lyrics at that particular tune. There,
Huh.
where it says daradam taradam taradam tam, that had the same, same lyrics. At least
Right.
in my opinion, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I think a lot of songs have that kind of where one plays, they
Yeah,
feel very familiar.
right. Yeah, let's call it an inspiration then.
Yeah. Inspired.
Inspired, partly inspired.
Hardly inspired. Yes, that sounds better.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, guys, that's all we have. Please comment if you think I'm right or not. Either way, please comment and share it with everybody, and let's see what the internet thinks about this. And that's all we have. Thanks for joining us. This is Padma Kumar.
This is Ravi.
Bye bye.